review time. Got Deep Purple's new album, Whoosh. I think it's the 21st one. Had it for about 2 weeks. I got it like the Sunday it came out. Came out on Friday. I got it on Sunday. Wish I got it day one because that would have made me feel more like a super fan. Even though I've been to like 4 Deep Purple concerts, 2 Blackmore concerts, 2 Whitesnake concerts, including the Purple tour. I went to Glenn Hughes doing all Deep Purple. So I love Deep Purple. I made my worst to best album video. Pissed a lot of people off on that one because I like some of the weird ones. But we're going to do this one. I made some notes. Listened to it about 4 times. That's all I had time for listening to it. But I think it's good enough to do a review. I'm not like overly familiar with it. I just got like my first impression still. And I'm slightly familiar with it because I heard the songs probably 4 times. The first song, Throw My Bones, I heard that months ago because this album was supposed to come out like first song, Throw My Bones. I heard that song months ago because this album was supposed to come out months ago, and when I first heard it on YouTube, that's like the worst place to listen to a new song. You gotta hear it in your car. You gotta hear it when you're out for a walk or something like that. You gotta hear it in your headphones. I was like, whatever. But now it's one of my favorite songs on the album. I want to hear it live in concert. I went to the Infinite tour, and I went to the what was this one? Now What concert. I saw the Perpendicular tour, and I saw which one am I missing? Oh, the Bananas tour. That's why I love that album, Bananas. That was a great song. I figure whenever they play a new song, they usually play it maybe like second or third. They'll start off with like Highway Star or something big like that. This is where I figure they'll do Throw My Bones. And I like the song. It was kind of more of an upbeat, it was the only one that really kind of sounded like a single on this one. Now, I'm going to just kind of whip right through the songs here. Drop the Weapon is kind of like a typical mid-tempo one they've been doing on like the Steve Morse era. They get the back and forth between him and Don Airey. They had like little battles all over the album, like them doing the back and forth. That's the thing with now. Keep dropping this. Them doing the back and forth, like Don Airey, he's all over this album. This is probably the most prominent one he's done his thing on, and he's got probably more solos and stuff than Steve Morse. Steve Morse, when you see them live, he's like the star of the band on stage. Here, I'm giving it to Don Airey. He stepped in. He's not like some hired hand, some hired gun. He's full-on member. This album, he's the star. The song after that, We're All the Same in the Dark. This is what got me thinking about Roger Glover's role in the band. Like, this sounds like a Deep Purple song long after. You got no John Lord, you got no Richie Blackmore, but it's got like that classic sound to them. So I was thinking he had a lot more input into the writing than you kind of think about, because I know he wrote like Space Truckin' and what's the one? What am I thinking of? Brain fart. Because he was the one, Roger Glover was the one who wrote Speed King. It was like his jam that started, his riff that started off the jam, and then they wrote that. So it's kind of got like that kind of, that bass kind of, like quick little easy bass riff to it. And then they just like jam and go crazy all over the rest of it. So I think he's like the instigator of a lot of songs. Fourth song, Nothing at All. The ending of this album is they play the first song off the first album, and the first album sounds nothing like later Deep Purple at all. That one they did like lots of little classical musical bits all over the first. I'll say the first 2 albums. The third one they had like a classical music section, but they did the song and the address on there. This one's got kind of that vibe to it. I listened to like interviews of him talking about this album. they weren't really inspired by the first one, but I thought this song was the one thing that they've done in forever that actually sounded like it would have been off the first album. Although they did do Mandrake Root on Now What. They cut that into a little jam, and I think the song Après Vous, that's what it was. But this is another song I want to hear. I want to hear them do that live. They did like another little back and forth between Don Airey and Steve Morse with a little classical riff. No Need to Shout. Here's another thing where they kind of go back to earlier sounding lineups, which I don't know if it was intentional or not. This one, the riff sounded like Stormbringer, and the Gillan era stuff never makes. It's like that band never even existed, except where on the Battle Rages On tour they did like the Burn riff. I think they played it live during the Joe Lynn Turner tour, but that was about it. But you know, I thought this one was interesting because it sounded like Stormbringer and it was pretty badass. The whole song doesn't, but they have a riff that keeps coming up throughout it, and I thought that was pretty neat. Step by Step. Here's another Don Airey one showing off his thing, like a moody kind of church organ thing, kind of like Mr. Crowley in it. The next song, What the What, it sounds like a 50s rocker. Sounded like the song Via Miami. If you've never heard the Gillan Glover Accidentally on Purpose album, the song Via Miami sounds like that, where it's like a 50s kind of Elvis-y kind of thing. Ian Gillan loves that stuff. If you heard like his Javelins solo record, which he did with his high school friends, there was a band with his high school friends. He went back and did a reunion with them a couple of years ago, and he made an album. That's where he gets his inspiration. Long Way Around is probably the fastest song. This album doesn't really have any fast songs. Nothing fast like Speed King or Burn, nothing like that. But maybe the fastest song they did since Now What, Hell to Pay. They kind of took it slow from now on. Like Deep Purple, you kind of want some fast ones, but they're in like a new era. They're old. They're in their 70s. I mean, my dad is about their age. He's maybe a little bit older than like Gillan and Glover. They're like 75 years old each, and he can barely walk up the stairs. These guys are still doing concert tours and stuff. So Pink Floyd never did a fast song, and I love them. What else we got? Power of the Moon. That was a moody one. I thought the beginning kind of sounded like Knight Rider. Remission Possible. It was like a minute and a half song. It was just like a kind of like an intro to the next song. This was like another give back and forth between Airey and Morse. Then Man Alive. That's the one it kind of fades into. It's like an atmospheric kind of, not quite Perfect Strangers, but like that sort of vibe, I guess. And then it has like Ian Gillan doing like a beatnik poem. But that's why it also made me think of the earliest albums, because it had like a weird kind of Book of Taliesin thing going on. Even though it probably unintentionally, or just I listened to this too much, because Ian Gillan's not listening to the Book of Taliesin album. He hasn't heard that since he joined the band, and they abandoned all that material after a couple of weeks he was in there. Then it goes into The Address, which blew my mind. I loved it. Them covering like the first stuff off the first album. The first song, first album, supposed to end the album, but then they threw a bonus track on. This track was number 13, but it's on every version of the album, so which is it a bonus of? Maybe the record? I don't know, but I looked up like the Amazon version, the iTunes version, CD version. They all had the song Dancing in My Sleep, which sounds like a bonus track. It's not a bad song, it's just not a great song, and if you're going to cut one off the album, it's going to be that one. So, as far as this goes, I liked it. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars. You'll like it. You're a Deep Purple fan. It's a different version of Deep Purple, although the last 3 albums were all made by Bob Ezrin. It kind of falls in the same there. I'm going to give this the second best out of the Bob Ezrin ones. I think Now What was better. I liked Infinite. I just don't really ever play it, and I can kind of forget what's on there. I'd like remind myself what was on there, like just preparing for this little review, and I was like, oh yeah, I liked the first song, which they always start off strong with a nice, good first song. I remember I liked that Hip Boot song, and they did like Roadhouse Blues, but this is a little bit better than that one. Probably not quite as many catchy songs as Now What, and the worst albums by Deep Purple, the ones I didn't like, in Concerto for Group and Orchestra, even though it was a live album, that was original material. I always put that last because like I listened to it once, I was like, that was boring. I did not like Abandoned. I always thought that was boring. Rapture of the Deep, I didn't like. Both Morse era albums, but not really. I mean, he's done lots of great. Like Perpendicular is awesome. That's a top 10 there. That's in the top half. That's another one I didn't like. I didn't like the self-titled Deep Purple album, the third one. That one was like eh. And Who Do We Think We Are? I didn't like that one. That one's not that good. I mean, I don't hate any of those albums. Those are my least. I'm putting it above this one above that. I was gonna say this is the top of the bottom third. It's not in rock. It's not Burn. It's not Machine Head. It's not Perfect Strangers. But they didn't embarrass themselves. Band in their set. This is one of the only bands that can. They still make albums every few years. Nobody else is doing that, and they don't embarrass themselves. It's not a horrible album. Like I hate to say it, I keep bagging on them all the time in all my reviews. Like Quiet Riot's last album, the last two albums is like, no, please just stop. Or all those other ones from like on the Frontiers label. This is all the bands that should give it up. No, Deep Purple's still good. I have to hear this tour. If they do come back, I do see a tour. I'm getting another shirt. I ain't even gonna get like the bootleg one out in the parking lot. I'm gonna get the real one too. I don't know what else to say, so I'll give of 21 albums. I'll say this is number like 14 or 15. I don't have my best to worst list. It's somewhere in there where like the good weird experimental albums. Like I liked House of Blue Light. I'm gonna put this somewhere in that range. The ones like nobody else is gonna go dying to buy, but you throw that one on, and you're happy to hear it. Come Taste the Band was a weird out of the norm album. I'm gonna put that somewhere around here. I liked Bananas. Bananas is one of my favorite ones. Shouldn't be. Nobody else is picking Bananas. I like that one. I like that one a little bit better than this. So that's my review. Am I rambling? Probably a little bit. So I kind of try to throw everything at you, all my Deep Purple love, whatever, trying to give you a big context of all of it. So definitely buy it. It's worth your Deep Purple listening. Worthy of your collection. There we go.